Welcome back, global citizens. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of our discussion. So, if you haven't watched Greta's call to action, I've got it in the link in the description of this video. And I encourage you, if you haven't watched the video yet, to pause right now and take a look. She explains a lot, like her recent designation from Israel as the second most dangerous influencer in the world, amongst some pretty dangerous people. And all she's trying to do is find a way to support the people in Gaza. So if we go back to the beginning of World War II, this is what happened. The land of Israel, where Gaza, Israel, and the West Bank are right now, was taken by the British under mandate. And that mandate stated that at the end of the war, they would have to give the land back. And they promised the land to the Jewish people and to the Palestinians. Their fault, not the fault of any of the citizens of these two groups. And in 1948, when they did give the land back, they gave them the land and said, work it out. There wasn't any balance in populations at that time either, but I kind of read it that for the first little while before 1948, they lived rather harmoniously. I mean, like the way you don't really love your next door neighbor, but you get along okay, I think is how it started out. But in 1948, things really turned nasty. And by 1950, Britain just handed the entire matter over to UN and walked away. Said it's your problem now, leaving no one to oversee, to mediate, to anything. These two peoples that were now stuck living on the same land, where both felt they had their own right to the land. It is very important to mention here that the UN at the time was 2 years old. So not the UN we know today. So the two main players, we have the Israeli Jewish people, and we have the Palestinian Arab people. In each of those groups, we have factions that are extremists. In with the Israeli Jews, we have the Zionists, and on the other side, the Palestinian Arab side, we have Hamas. I hear about Hamas mostly in the news as the troublemaking side of things. However, when I give you the numbers, and I'm not taking sides, I'm just giving facts, but I do understand what the numbers look like. So, of the Jewish Israelis, we have about 10 million people, and they're living in the bulk of the land mass that is Israel. In the Palestinian Arabs, there are just over 5.5 million people. 2 million of those people live in Gaza, and 3.4 million in the West Bank. So they're separated. There are also Palestinians living inside Israel proper as well. To put the numbers into perspective, 2.2 million people in Gaza, which is about the size of New York. And it's much more overpacked because it's the population of Chicago, for example. Very imbalanced. And well, then you've got further imbalances because not just the population, but the Israeli military, of course, is one of the most powerful militaries in the world. They've got the nuclear weapons, they've got all matter of artillery, planes, and boats, and so on. On the other side, you have Hamas, which the Palestinians do not have an army. There is no military. There's no navy. They don't have tanks. They don't have bombs. What they have are guns, and it's called what did I write it down? They rely on asymmetric warfare. Um, they dig tunnels. They're really whatever they can do to combat um, the military strength of the opposition in Israel. The size of those that are fighting. So if we go to the Zionists and the military, pardon me, the military side of the Jewish Israelis in Israel, their military is about 169,500 strong. And I read that at any given moment, they could increase that by double for others that are no longer in service, other military personnel. On the other side, Hamas, the one that I've heard most about, has approximately 12 to 25,000 people in no organized. I mean, their government right now is, they're living in tents. So they're battling over the land. It's not just a religious battle. They're battling over the land. And what's happened is that when the Zionists, who want more of the land, they believe that the land is rightfully all of theirs. So these people in these small places keep getting pushed further and further together, and with no infrastructure. I mean, their homes, buildings have all been bombed in these regions. That when there's new bombing or firing in the region, it just kills more civilians. It kills more people, and primarily civilians. When I've just mentioned what the number is in the military, or in Hamas, this militant group. And so truly right now in Gaza, it's about approximately 2 million people. 2 million people, the size of Chicago, that are living in tents, that have no food, that have no water. They're starving to death. Truly, they are. So what's happened now? The UN has been trying, and other nations want to send aid, but there are so many blockades, both from the water side and from land, that NGOs, United Nations, Amnesty, they can't get in to send the supplies that are needed. When Trump called for the strait to be open a couple of weeks ago, and if it wasn't, he was going to wipe Iran from civilization. I was really panicked in those days. I never thought that in my life I would see an active war that hit so close to home, truly. I mean, I know that there have been wars, of course there have been, and I've paid attention to them, but I've also been younger. Today, I don't know, it means something more. It hurts more. It's happening next door. It's been threatened upon my country here in Canada. And I couldn't understand. I still don't understand. I understand the role of NATO. I understand the UN and Amnesty and nations around the world wanting to help, but also obeying law and letting them handle it by themselves. And I really struggle whether it was Iran, because we got that countdown clock down to an hour and 10 minutes before they were supposed to be wiped from civilization, the Iranians. Women, children, innocent people, men, innocent families, not involved in any of this. And it's the same thing that's happening in Gaza. No one innocent deserves to live like this. And that I'm comfortable with my electricity and my cup of coffee. And there are in my home talking to you online, there are people living in tents, and it's millions of people. That is very troubling to me. Please like this video and anything else that you find of interest on my page. Hype anything, and don't forget to leave comments. And with that, I'm going to leave you with another quote, as I did with the first video, from Jane Goodall. And well, she still is an inspiration to me, but I hope that these words will find you as well. Jane says, "What we do collectively as billions of human beings making the right ethical choices, that's going to move us in the right direction." And I do believe that. I believe that when we stand together, when we are united, we can accomplish amazing things. And the truth is that Gaza deserves peace. The Middle East deserves peace. And well, there are people that need our help. So if there's anything you can do, and you can send that letter or send an email or sign a petition on the Amnesty website, you don't even have to leave your couch, but it makes a difference. I promise it really does. And until my next video, or until I see you in the comments, thank you. And I hope that you all stay safe and well. And until then.